Happy Sunday and welcome to the PNC Bank Sports Corner. I'm Meredith Gorman, joined by Tom Karen, who is down in Fort Myers as the Major League Baseball lockout continues. But TC, there is some activity going on down there today, right?
Yeah, there is. It almost feels normal here, Meredith. It's the beginning of spring training for everyone in the minor league side of the organization, really everybody but the 40-man roster. Those players who are not allowed to take part in anything because they are under major league contract. But we've got some of the best prospects in the organization coming together, pitchers and catchers having their first official workout this morning, a little intra-squad scrimmage going on, some of the position players here getting some early hitting in, and a lot of names to keep an eye on, just none of the guys you would expect to see necessarily on opening day at Fenway Park.
Right, and as you said, there are still a bunch of familiar faces, familiar names down there. So who are a few of the key players that you think that people will be watching?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, the big name and the big guy who kind of towers over everyone is Triston Casas, who had such an incredible year last year, the breakthrough season with the Portland Sea Dogs, and then with Team USA in the Olympics, where he really got a lot of attention, finishing things up in Worcester. He would, one would think, end up in Boston before this season is over, but he's not on the 40-man roster right now because of the amount of time he's been in the organization. They don't have to put him on yet. And he would project to start the season in Worcester. So keeping a close eye on him, because of everybody here, he's probably the guy closest to being an important part of the major league team. But then you've got other guys a little further down, like Marcelo Mayer, who was the first-round draft pick of the Red Sox last year. Just watched him take batting practice a few moments ago, live BP against pitching. Really impressed by what the organization tells me about him. Fluid, shortstop of the future, athletic, can hit. And so they're really excited about his prospects. Nick York is here. Alex Bonella is one of the players they got in the trade that brought Jackie Bradley Jr. back in that deal for Hunter Renfroe. So a lot of interesting guys to watch here up and down the minor league organization, who over the next couple of years should find their way through to the major league roster.
And to kind of make lemonade out of this terrible situation with the lockout in effect, there could be some upside for the minor league players here because the major league players can't hold workouts yet. So with the minor league players on the field, are they getting some extra attention from the Red Sox coaching staff down there, getting extra looks and maybe capitalizing on this opportunity?
That's a great question. And lemonade might be the perfect way to put it, because there's a lot of sour lemons going on, as we know, at the major league negotiations right now. And everyone's trying to avoid that here in camp. But talking to some of the major league coaches who've been here over the last few days, as these minor league guys have shown up and gotten early work in, and they were telling me, you know, in normal times, the major league coaching staff would be so busy with major league camp, getting these guys in, getting them ready, getting, 6 weeks sounds like a long time, but for the coaching staff, every minute is important as you prepare for the season. Instead, they've really had a chance to see some of the younger players. Alex Cora was saying, really impressed. He's not allowed to talk about any of the major league stuff at all, but he got to watch some of the minor league stuff and just to get to see these guys in a way that they won't normally get to see in a spring training, I think has been really good for the entire organization to get a good look at some of their bright young prospects for the future.
And looking ahead to when people may be able to get a look at the Major League Baseball players, let's look at this in a two-pronged fashion. On one hand, is there any update on when this lockout could come to an end? And also, what will happen to minor league baseball? Will that still play as planned?
Yeah, that's a really important thing to get to. Let's start there, because no matter what happens, even if this lockout drags out longer than any of us think it will, the minor league seasons are going ahead exactly as planned. So the Worcester Red Sox will open up at the beginning of the April. They're in Jacksonville to begin, and then a week later, they open up at Polar Park in Worcester. Those games will go ahead. The Portland Sea Dogs, Salem Red Sox, up and down the organization. Everyone's minor league season will go on as planned. That's why today, walking around here for these guys, it's like there's no lockout at all. This is business as usual for the minor league coaches, the staff. Chaim Bloom and his baseball ops staff walking around like they would watching these young players. So all of that goes on as planned, except for the presence of the players on the 40-man roster. As for those guys, it's funny. I've been here for a few days talking to a lot of people around the organization, and literally nobody from the top down has any idea how it's going to play out, because we're just not in the room. They're not in the room. One message that I think the Red Sox have said to me over and over, and they want people to understand, people on both sides love the game of baseball. The players love baseball. The owners love baseball. They want to get this done, and both sides want to fight for what they think is important. The hope is that it doesn't last too long, and when it's over, the game, the sport, comes out stronger and better than it was before. So I think if that is the end goal, we've all sat through some rain delays, and then baseball gets going. No one sat through more rain delays than me, Meredith. And you sometimes say, why are you going to finish this game? It's midnight. You finish the game, you come back, things end pretty well. You're glad they finished the game. Let's hope they get this finished, and we're glad they went through it, because now the game is a better sport, a better product than it was before. That's what we all hope for.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's still a lot to figure out, but I know that you'll be down in Florida for the time being. So we'll make sure to keep touching base with you for all of the minor league baseball spring training updates, as well as updates on the lockout. Thanks so much, TC.